honestly, is that mindset is definitely shifted. So when I do feel like I'm in one of those little ruts, I've now got the strategies to pull me back out. So that's definitely the biggest difference since starting this course with you. Um, yeah, I'm definitely stoked to be at this point now. And I do remember back then worrying a little bit about the dollar figure of you know things had never been had a bit of a financial crisis in the business, not doing the greatest, and just realizing I've got to hold my value up there, and of how much I can gain out of having the right mindset, or putting me back on track basically. Um, so yeah, yeah, definitely stoked that I took the dive, and looking back now, it's it's cool to see the changes for sure.
All right. So today we got a client interview with my client, Jason. Super excited to dive into this one, man. Jason, thanks for jumping on.
Let's do it.
All right, man. So we were talking about this, but basically the goal for this is just to hear a little bit about you, your story, and the coaching process and the effort that it can just kind of help somebody who's listening. So, first question is tell us who you are, what you do, and where you live.
Sweet. So my name is Jason Ferron. I run motorsport events and YouTube and a bunch of stuff motorsport related, and I live in Melbourne, Australia.
You're not going to talk about Keep It Reet, man? Your your
Yeah,
brand is
I guess,
legit.
man.
T
You
talk
ask me
about
what I do. You don't ask exact specific. Anyway, Keep It Reet is that motorsport brand, and yeah, it is about men's mental health as well, which is the motorsport, which is drifting, which is what I do. I compete professionally as well. Just come off a year in the States, and but definitely the focus around Keep It Reet is like basically the therapy of how drifting really does keep your mind at bay, and helps you through your struggles. It's kind of like that moment where it slows your mind down, and it's like honestly like a reset. So I really like pushing that in the sport and just showing people it's a great way to kind of um, it's a great way to spend your time. Honestly, when it's the way I see it, it's a lot of young adults, sorry, young males, I should say, that get into this sport, and it's like an alternative to partying, drinking, drugs, or whatever. Great way to spend your money. It is a bit of a money pit, won't lie,
Yeah,
but it's great for like community, mental health, all of the above. So
yeah.
that's basically what we're about. Been going 6 years strong. Got 160,000 subscribers on YouTube. And yeah, pretty similar across all the other social media platforms. And um, yeah, we're really content based and just good vibes, good times. Keep it real basically means keep it real. It's also promoting like a safe environment for drifting too. So off the streets and on the track. So that's the full rundown
There it is. Yeah, I
there.
just wanted to, give like what you've built like a shout out because it's really impressive on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. Like you really have built a community and a really cool brand. And so, talk to me about what were some of the things that you were maybe struggling with at the beginning that made you want to reach out for coaching.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty funny actually. The first time I saw you pop up, and I think all I did was like it or maybe follow your advertisement or something about yeah, driven dad entrepreneur and having kids and being stuck in a rut and this and that. And I definitely hit home at the time. I remember I was probably in bed, um, in the house that we've been staying in during I think a winter in Connecticut in the States, and just feeling definitely in that rut, and the three kids running around, and the struggles and changes mentally that even kids do bring
Mm.
in your life, and I was definitely at that point where I had a bit of a rough year, and I was just like, oh, yeah, I'll check this guy out, and then got the auto message that I thought was a bot,
You thought it was a bot, but it
um,
was me.
and I called you out being a bot, and then you're like, nah, dude, and then got this voice message, I'm not a bot,
Yeah.
and that kind of kicked off the conversation, and yeah, basically that's where I was at. I was in that rut and in quite a low spot, or just just up and down. Like I felt more like I was in a bit of a cycle of getting stuck in a low spot and just struggling more than ever to get out of bed and not knowing why. Low motivation, and yeah, that's I don't know how else I can really put it, but it just felt like nothing was aligning for me.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I do remember that first interaction. You referred to me as a bot, and I'm like, no, I'm not a bot. Like, I can actually help. And yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to just having like a big growing business, having a family, having a wife, and just having that overwhelm that comes with it. And then sometimes that just leads to you being in a rut. And so once we got started, what were some of the most helpful aspects that helped you shift out of that rut?
Honestly, probably the first point is even just being able to talk to someone openly that's a neutral ground. I think that has more power than you kind of think.
Yeah.
Then, secondly, I'm a big like strategic like I work well with strategies basically, and just some of the habits that you put in place, like habit tracking and just basic things like drinking water daily, going on a 20-minute walk, just a few things that you've learnt, like going through the patterns of behavior,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, just basically the mindset around why, like that you feel like you're in a rut, and yeah, because that's all it was for me at the start, is just understanding. Oh, okay, well, I think one big thing that really stuck in my brain was like action equals motivation. I remember you like hated the word motivation. That's not a real thing. I was like, what are you talking about? It's basically what I live my life by, like feeling motivated and just being driven off being, like happy and fun, and that kind of led to motivation. But then as soon as things are just bad or like consistently feeling like they're going the wrong way, it kind of sucks the fun and enjoyment side out of it. So you're like left with this, hang on, how am I going to get motivation if I don't have those key things that I felt like I needed? So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. From that, I was just like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, as soon as I actually go up and work on my car, I just get that whole job done. Or, I just get into it. I could sit in bed for hours and do nothing and then just feel worse about it. Or if I would get up and just, go for a walk, drink my water, get outside and make a bit of a plan, try not get too stuck in my head and get into the job at hand. And I start to feel really good about myself and motivated and ready for the next tasks and make many, many other tasks to focus on that week. Um, so yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I remember when we talked about that. You're just like, yeah, I'm just not doing it. I'm just not feeling motivated. And I think that's a trap a lot of people fall into is like deciding whether you take an action or not based off of motivation. But we
Yeah.
just know that motivation just ebbs and flows throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. And so what you actually need to do is not rely on motivation, but take the right actions regardless of how you feel that then creates like the feeling of progress. And I remember once you started doing that, like things really started to improve. So was there anything else like outside of the just the sessions and talking it out, the habit tracking, anything else that kind of stands out to you as something that was just really beneficial from the process?
Um, the only thing that can honestly stand out right now is honestly having someone, because I was on a bit of a spiritual journey too,
Yeah.
and having someone that I could just bounce off with that as well, as I was kind of going that journey of finding a church um and even just talking about it, because yeah, I'm definitely not like insanely familiar with like even just praying or talking to God or um yeah, any of that stuff honestly. So yeah, having someone that has kind of gone through a similar thing
Yeah.
and found their faith and seeing some amazing results out of it. So just getting that like testimonial each meeting, or being able to just go through my journey and you being you relating to it, I guess. um I feel like that definitely has a solid impact on on my journey.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that because that's something that really stands out to me about your success and your journey is just really your dependence on your faith, your dependence on God and looking to looking to him to guide your direction.
Yeah.
And that's something that I had to learn the hard way too when I went out on my own and just felt like I was in a rut and really what was missing was
Hmm.
not just mindset or strategy. It was like my dependence on my faith.
And that's it. I think there's only so much you can do on your own, and I think it does chip away as a, as a, yeah, as just a man, as just basically, day by day, every one of those little things, it might just not be your time, or there might be a bigger plan, but if you let those things get to you, then I feel like it kind of just, it just puts you on that downward track, and you feel like it won't ever come good, and then it won't ever come good because you're in that mindset.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can kind of, it is like you said, it's like a cheat code, having God having your back. And
Yeah.
if you can remind yourself that every time something bad does happen, it's like, no, it's all good. Like, he's got my back. Something good's going to come, and this is just part of the process and the plan. If I don't let it get to me, then I won't worry about it, and I can just move on to the next thing. And just keep doing those actions, and there'll be motivation, and it's just another day. Look at the sun shining, whatever it is. Just be stoked with whatever you've got in front of you, and know that it'll all be fine.
Yeah. I'm really proud of you for going on that journey and having the courage to, go to church again and start praying and like, pray with me and just share your journey with me. Cause I think that that's really been one of the biggest changes that I've seen in you, man.
I think it's definitely one of those things that, it's definitely been a long time coming. Like, I think through COVID, it was such a weird time, and I don't even think you were allowed to. I'm not sure what the go was with church, but in Australia, everything was shut down, and you couldn't hang out with more than 50 people at one time. So you weren't allowed to leave your house. And I feel like that was a time where I stopped going to church, and I was on like a pretty strong spiritual journey at that point, going through other stuff, and things were kind of just aligning. But I think for that reason of just I was just letting things go with the flow, and things were lining up for what I was supposed to be doing with my life, like starting the business, and really taking it on full time as well. And fast forward till now, I think I just slowly let that go, and slowly thought that it was me putting all that together. And I think the more the more ego driven almost. It's like the more you think it's yourself, then the more it digs at you when it doesn't work out. So just letting that go is a big part of it, I think, and myself on that spiritual journey, also having a large community underneath me, and people I'm influencing. It really does come back to like my why I'm doing this from the start, and kind of my story with just taking it up the street, and looking out for your mates, and then one of my good mates taking his life through COVID because of drifting, and that all kind of came together, being like, all right, maybe there's like a bit of a higher purpose here. I've got a lot of people that are following me, but I need to have my head screwed on straight if I'm going to be able to pass anything down to them and be the right role model for them. So I think that having that journey, and knowing that strength that God can give you, if I can explain that to someone in the right way and actually have gone through it, then I think it's a lot more powerful than me just saying, "Oh no, you'll be right." Or I can't.
Oh.
I wouldn't really have anything to give them. So
I think that's what's so cool is like you have this massive platform to share your purpose, your why, and your story. And that's been so cool to watch you just continue to do is take those steps. So as you're just kind of reflecting on it, like where you're at now compared to where you were when you started, 3 to 4 months ago in that rut, what are just some of the results that you're the most proud of, and like how do you feel like you've changed as a person?
definitely a mindset. With all these strategies that you've given me, and processes, even just breathing. Breathing is a big one for me. Just it's like grounding yourself and just reminding yourself, you're fine. Slowing down my brain for a second, and just settling yourself. So I think it's just honestly is that mindset is definitely shifted. So when I do feel like I'm in one of those little ruts, I've now got the strategies to pull me back out. So that's definitely the biggest difference since starting this course with you. And I'm definitely stoked to be at this point now. And I do remember back then worrying a little bit about the dollar figure of you know, things had never been, you know, had a bit of a financial crisis in the business, not doing the greatest, and just realizing, you know, I've got to hold my value up there, and of, you know, how much, you know, I can gain out of, you know, having the right mindset, or, you know, putting me back on track basically. Um, so yeah, yeah, definitely stoked that I took the dive, and you know, looking back now, it's cool to see the changes for sure.
Yeah. And I think it's cool because your team has benefited from you showing up at a higher level as well. Like, can you talk about that? Like how you feel like you've been able to maybe show up as your best and how it's impacted your team?
Yeah, definitely. I guess the same thing as the role model to the team, and the business owner and the manager and whatever you want to call it. Um, I think people can definitely feel your vibe. So even from a distance, it's kind of hard. It's even harder. So with some big shifts in the business, trying to keep things on track and systems in place. Um, yeah, it's been great being able to pass down even some of these systems to the team. Um, and yeah, just those strategies, I think, you know, even coming into play, and I could see them kind of reflecting even like team meetings and business meetings. A lot of the stuff you've got is, you know, it's gold, honestly. So it really helps refine the team, and everyone feel very aligned with their um, yeah, with what they've got to be doing within the business.
Awesome. So are you happy? You're happy that you took the dive and you did the process?
100%. Yeah, yeah, stoked I took the dive, and yeah, it's been amazing being on this journey with you. You know, it's just like I've gained another mate on
Mm.
the other side of the world.
I
So.
was gonna say I'm not sure if I've made my mind up yet if it's been worth it or not. I'm just kidding. I think it's been so cool being a part of your journey, and I've learned so much from you, and just being a part of it and watching you lead your platform and your community with purpose and with your why and relying on your faith and showing up vulnerable. It's been a huge thing I've learned from you, and so it's been awesome working with you, man. And I'm grateful to kind of just know you and keep working with you. So, last question: any pieces of advice that you would have for somebody who's maybe on the fence, considering reaching out, but they're hesitant? Any advice for them?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think, yeah, you just got to weigh out where you're at and where your head's at, and yeah, if you want to get out of that rut, then you know you're not going to be able to do that on your own, pretty much. And um, yeah, I don't know where to put it apart from just do it, just send it,
Yeah, just send it.
just send.
Yeah.
If
No,
you
I
want,
think
and you
that's
want to really pick up your vibe, and you know, honestly, I think just for energy, even just coming on a call every time, I'd leave just feeling refreshed and ready to go. So yeah, if that's anything I can put down to it, you know, it's you're going to get that out of it as a minimum. So just
yeah.
send it.
I love it. Just send it. Well, yeah, I just want to say thanks. You're the man. It's been awesome being a part of your journey. And for anybody who's watching this or listening to it, if you are, ready to, reach out, just encourage you to click the link below, book a call, or send me a DM on Instagram. We'll have a conversation, see if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. So, Jason, you're the man. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.